Hi, it's Jessie. Today I am drinking some green tea, lemon and ginger from Miracle Tree. I think I've had this one before, but I'm too lazy to try to not repeat teas. So today I'm kind of doing something a little more casual, a little more relaxed, and I'm gonna rank some of the top books from my Goodreads read shelf. So it's June, and I've been watching literally everyone's June TBRs because I want more queer books to read that aren't just contemporaries, because every time I ask for queer recommendations I just get a lot of contemporaries. So I've been watching those, and while doing that I found this YouTuber called Penelope and the Paperback Cat, and she's just delightful. She's New Zealander, she's super sweet, but one of her videos is this one, top 10 highest rated books I've ever read. And it caught my interest because I was like, I wonder what, according to Goodreads, are the top 10 books I've ever read. And then I decided if I'm gonna do that, might as well have some fun with it. So I went to my Goodreads shelf and I organized it by top rated, average rating, and then I also checked top number of ratings, because sometimes a book with a high average rating is just because only a few people have read it, and all the people that have read it have liked it, but not that many have read it. Now, my read shelf on Goodreads is a little wonky. I started my Goodreads, I don't know, several years ago, but I didn't really use it. I just kind of threw on some books that I had read in English classes in high school and then kind of forgot about it, and I really only started using it about a year and a half ago now, in early 2019. So most of the books, I have 116 books on my read shelf. Most of them are ones I've read in the past year, and then there's a handful of like high school reads that aren't even rated, they're just, I read this. I'm going to show you real quick, skip to the timestamp if you don't want spoilers for what books I'm rating, but I want you to see, I'm just going to quickly go over the books that I will be ranking in this video and why they're on this list. So I have my Goodreads sorted by the highest average rating, and the 10 books that came from this are Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban with an average rating of 4.57, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas with an average of 4.51, Memory of Light by Robert Jordan with an average of 4.52, Phoenix of Scarlet by Ellie Rain with an average of 4.5, Lock and Key Volume 5 with an average of 4.48, Lock and Key Volume 6 with an average of 4.47, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling with an average of 4.47, The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson with an average of 4.45, Towers of Midnight by Robert Jordan with an average of 4.43, and Lock and Key Volume 4 with an average of 4.41. So I also checked out the average, or the number of ratings. So when we sort by that, the 10 books, there is some overlap here, so there will be less than 20 books that I'm rating overall. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone again, Twilight, The Great Gatsby, 1984, Pride and Prejudice, Animal Farm, Catcher in the Rye, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Romeo and Juliet, and Of Mice and Men. So now that we've established what books are on this list and why, let's jump into how I would rate them. You have S, A, B, C, D, the typical ratings. I didn't feel like getting too creative with this. So if we put B is like average, no strong feelings, A is good, C would be bad, D is I hate it, and S is I love it. Alright, that gives you a pretty good range. So a lot of these are classics, a lot of them are high school reads, and then a handful of more recent ones. So let's start with 1984 by George Orwell. I remember liking this one. In high school, I was super into that kind of dystopian, like not just the Hunger Games style YA dystopian, but I really liked the classic dystopians at the time, but I don't know if I reread it now if I would still like it. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in B because I'm just not sure how I would feel about it if I read it today. I recently-ish read Brave New World and didn't like that, so it'd be interesting to give that one another shot. Memory of Light, that's an S tier, I'm not even gonna talk about it. Animal Farm by George Orwell. This is another one. I loved it when I read it in high school, but don't know how I'd feel about it now, especially since my ideologies have changed a lot since I read Animal Farm. I think I'm gonna put it in B as well, but I'm gonna put it above 1984. Catcher in the Rye. Geez, a lot of these are gonna come up with I need to reread them. Catcher in the Rye, I hated in high school. I hated it very specifically because, for very personal reasons, but Holden Caulfield I kind of despise. But I don't think you're supposed to like him. And I do really admire a book that gets a strong feeling out of somebody, even if it's a strong negative feeling, because it wasn't like it was negative because it was poorly written or I didn't think the book was good. I just didn't like it because I hated Holden Caulfield for very specific, very personal reasons. I really want to reread this now and see if maybe with some more distance from those issues, how I would feel. So I'm going to put it in A just because I think evoking strong emotions is a positive thing. And really think I need to reread it. Great Gatsby is D tier. I hated Great Gatsby. When I read it, I'd hate it now, probably even more. I realize that it's supposed to be a commentary on the American dream and blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I absolutely hated it. I thought it was a weird stalker fantasy about how if you just love a girl long enough, she'll love you back. And it's just gross. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Or Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you are. J.K. Rowling is trash. Is a trash person. I don't think her books necessarily should suffer for that. Sorcerer's Stone has a lot of, like, nostalgia for me. I'm gonna put it in B, but I'm gonna put it, like, top of B. Yeah. Lock and Key Alpha and Omega. This was the conclusion of the Lock and Key series, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. Oops. I thought it was the best ending that series could have had. I think it really did it justice, so I'm gonna put it in S. Oof. I'm gonna put it below Memory of Light, but it's a close one. I really like them both because I am just endings are such a big thing for me. Lock and Key Clockworks. Really like this one too. This was the one I rated the lowest of all the books, I think, for the Lock and Key series. But I still really, really liked it. I just think it could have been better incorporated. I'm gonna put it in A. I'm gonna put it above Catcher in the Rye. I think it's pretty obvious that most of these should end up higher rated, just because of where they are. And Keys to the Kingdom is volume 4. I don't distinctly... Ooh, this one's also going to go in S. This is going to go at the bottom of the S, but this one is less because of what was happening in the story and more for the artwork in this one. Gabriel Rodriguez, I think, is the artist in this, and he just does this really cool stylistic thing where this volume is told with different perspectives. And each perspective is told in a different style, and it's really, really cool. So that's why that one's going high. Okay, Mistborn. Mistborn is delightful. Well, sorry, The Final Empire. I can't just put everything in S tier, can I? That's not allowed, right? I'll put it top of A tier. Of Mice and Men, I'm gonna put it in C tier. I didn't like it. I don't like sad stories. Well, it's not true. I like sad stories that have like a bit of hope in them, and there was just none of that in Of Mice and Men. I didn't like it. I didn't like the symbolic choices that were made. Because it is a classic, I feel okay being like a little pretentious and being like, I didn't like that they chose not to give Curly's wife a name because it was supposed to symbolize how she was just, I don't like that. So, didn't like Of Mice and Men, I just didn't hate it. So, C tier. Pride and Prejudice, I like. I've only read 2 Jane Austens. I like Pride and Prejudice more than Sense and Sensibility. I thought it was a little easier to understand. I think this is generally considered the best of Austen's works, or at least it's certainly the most famous. As far as a romance go, I like it. I'll put it in A, but I'm gonna put it Catcher in the Rye is going to stay at the bottom of it just because, like, I actually don't know how I'd feel about it if I read it today. So Pride and Prejudice is right above Catcher in the Rye. Phoenix of Scarlet, this was book 4. So this is the most recent book from the Necroseme Chronicles. So this is, the writing of it was certainly the best. Story-wise, there were things about it I liked. I'm going to put this top of B tier. Prisoner of Azkaban, if you had asked me this before I reread it a month ago, it would be way higher, but after my recent reread, I'm putting it in C. I'm putting it top of C, but I'm putting it in C because it's my favorite of the movies, and I think if you take it on its own, it's amazing. But as part of the series, it just has so many plot holes because of things that are introduced later in the series, and I can't. So, it's going to top of C. Romeo and Juliet, also do not like Romeo and Juliet. It's, of every Shakespeare I've read, probably my least favorite. Maybe Julius Caesar would be my least favorite. Although, to be fair, I think that's more of context because I think, one, I'm sick of every single Romeo and Juliet remake, and except for Romeo and Juliet, that one's delightful. But also, I think the original myth of Pyramus and Thisbe is way better than Romeo and Juliet, because it just, I like it more, and I've read some stuff that makes me kind of like Romeo and Juliet contextually a little more. I'm gonna put it bottom of B. The Hate You Give. This is a recent read. I haven't even like reviewed it or anything. It's a hard one for me to rate because I think objectively it's an S. I think objectively it's a 5-star, beautiful, wonderfully written book. My enjoyment, though, was a little less just because I had a hard time relating to the main character in this and with Star for high school reasons. I find it very hard to relate to high schoolers anymore. Maybe because I'm a teacher. I don't know, maybe that makes it hard because I'm like, I deal with high schoolers all the time. And so reading about high schoolers, I kind of get a little turned off from it. So I think objectively it should be S, but I'm going to put it, I'm going to put it between Mistborn and The Lock and Key. Yeah, I'm going to put it there. Towers of Midnight, this is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, of the Wheel of Time books. So I'm going to go ahead and put that above Memory of Light because I think it deserves it. Twilight. Oof. Jeez, this is a weird one to end on. I liked it when I read it. In retrospect, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I know I got weirdly excited about the idea of Midnight Sun coming out, which I feel like should say something about how I feel about Twilight. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put it in B, just because it's been so long since I've read it. I was thinking about doing a reread of it, but I have so many other things I want to read right now. Oof, that's gonna make people mad, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put it right there, right above Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Yikes. Yeah, so that's my list. I don't think there's anything I really want to change. I mean, it's definitely weighted towards the top, but that makes sense. These are highly rated books. I kind of wish I had like limited it to 1 per series and had gotten rid of the repeats there so I could have included some more diverse stuff. I thought 20 was going to take a little bit longer, but yeah, there it is. I'm going to leave a link to this in the description so you can do it if you want. Let me know if you would change anything. Let me know if you like Great Gatsby and let me know why. Now, a lot of these are sequels, which I think if I'm going to talk about why I think they're highly rated, a lot of them are sequels. I mean, if you make it to book 14 of a 14-book series, you're not hate reading it anymore, so you're going to rate it high. A lot of the classics were on the most rated books because those are ones you're reading for high school. You've had to read, although I should have checked. I bet you those are probably much lower on the average ratings. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to do the opposite of this video where I talk about the least rated or lowest rated. And there's definitely some overlap there. So I think that's why those are there, and I think the ones that are highest rated are because they're in a series. People really like them, although it's interesting that for Harry Potter, it's the earlier ones, same with Mistborn, although I think most people think The Final Empire is the best of the Mistborn books. So that's a little interesting, whereas with Wheel of Time and Lock and Key, it's the later volumes, books that got it. But there we go. I'm gonna end this here. Let me know in the comments below, what is the highest rated, average rating book that you have on your red shelf in Goodreads? I'm curious to see if we have some in common. Maybe there's something interesting. Maybe I'll pick some up if you have some suggestions. Alright, bye. Hey, just popping in here quick. I've been trying to think of something I can use my platform to do to help with everything happening. I've seen a lot of YouTubers doing things like donating their AdSense money or donating their sponsorship money, things like that, but we don't have any of that. And then I saw EHR is doing, if you send them like a picture that you've donated, they'll send you a sticker, and I figured that's something I can do. I like crafting, I like doing embroidery and things, and so I'll leave a document in the description that you can look and find more information about what I'm doing. But basically, if you send us a picture of a receipt on Twitter or Instagram with just to show that you've donated to support, you know, one of the Black Lives Matter movements, one of the insurance companies that are helping out, bail money, whatever you can do to help, I will mail you a little embroidery gift. So just check out that doc. It'll tell you what information I need from you, okay? It's a crazy world, and we all have to support each other right now.